Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. At the time of the recording, we're literally just coming off of the Virgo full moon. And for those of you who are here, we talk about the energy of what's coming forward, or any themes, especially when it comes to really allowing yourself to bring more intentional, purpose-filled life. Um, in whatever aspect, if you're creating a business, if you're just trying to create more intentional living for yourself, and also achieving your goals and dreams. And today I have a special guest. I have Kayla, a beautiful friend of mine. Known each other for a while. And Kayla, feel free to introduce yourself. Let us know what it is that you do, your work.
Hmm. Hello, I'm Kayla. Sorry, I have like throat issues right now. And yeah, I've been on the online space, I guess, with Stephanie for a while now. And right now, I'm an Akashic Records reader. I've kind of changed up my titles, trying to find the right ones, but I read the Akashic Records, and I guess I do like energetic work and energetic mentorship and coaching and energy healing. But I guess my overall theme of my work involves consciously creating the life of your dreams, um, by remembering who you are and creating from that space of like your heart's desires and your soul's desires. So yeah.
And thank you. And we actually wanted to come in here. I got inspired from one of your recent reels. You've been talking about the Akashic Records and sharing messages that you've been tapping into and receiving. And one of the major topics that I kind of want to elaborate for people is like how to live and create a life from a space of alignment. And especially because we're like in spaces and energy work and like the spiritual work as well realms, like what does alignment even like mean? Like how do we tangibly articulate that to people? How would you do that?
I know it's so hard, and I think I've struggled along my journey just because we understand what alignment means, like with our body and soul, I guess, but with our mind, it's kind of sometimes hard to articulate. Um, so yeah, that's what inspired me to actually ask the records, like, what is alignment? How can I, like you said, tangibly explain it? Because we use this word so much. Um, so I, to be honest, don't remember the message that came through before, but I would say alignment is really when you are existing from a space of truth, truth as in like who you are on a soul level, and you are in control, and you're not letting your ego and your fears kind of dictate your life. And so you're making decisions and you're creating your life, in a space that honors your desires, your gifts, your passions, your excitements, your values. Mm, yeah. Was it
I like
tangible enough?
yeah, I mean, I also like the fact that when we talk about alignment, it's like, first of all, something actually came through for me like literally yesterday. And it was like, okay, sometimes I feel in the spiritual like walk journey, it's like you have a desire And you start just, I find that a lot of times is like, I just kind of start getting into the thing of building or going into a new study to learn a new skill. And so I've had, I've built up my business coaching, and I actually attended a marketing group event with women yesterday. And one of the things that came through is like, maybe it feels so scary in creating because, like you mentioned, fear. Um, because it is something I'm creating that is new, right? And when I actually showed and told them what it is that I do, I said I'm a spiritual mentor and coach. A lot of them were like, "That's a thing." And we're in the virtual space as well. And so like for us, it's like it's kind of already normal, right? It's like we are no other spiritual teachers, healers, coaches, mentors. And just to have somebody out there say, "Oh, I didn't know this was possible, that you could do that." Um, I was like, "Oh, yeah, it's not like." I found myself saying, like, "Yes, I have been doing the thing, but this time from a space of not like, oh, I'm a spiritual coach and mentor." Like I was shy and like, not really vocalizing. And like I was like, no, this time the vibration was like owning it. This is what I want. This is what I've done to this point, is create the foundations I've been wanting so that I can do the work that I feel inspired to do. And elaborating on fear, it's like, yeah, out of alignment just feels like you're hiding. Like, there's also moments where, because of programs and conditionings and beliefs, that you do feel like, either are you believing fully in yourself, or are you, I always like to draw a line for people. It's like, are you in doubt of yourself and your vision, or do you believe that vision? And a lot of times, what are you taking action from that space from, right? Like, are you taking action and doing things because you feel like you have to, or out of fear, out of lack? Because if you don't do it, you won't receive the X, the either the clients or book the deals, etc. Or are you doing it because one, this is your purpose, this is what you want to do, you're allowing yourself to do it, and there's like a different energy, like you feel more excited, like you let go of the result. Also, that's something that you mentioned in your reel, was like you just let it go. You're not like trying to control the results, but you trust and releasing that. And that's the biggest thing in terms of vibration and living in alignment, is coming back to, you know, um, I always say, can you put, it's like you're sending that prayer off to your angels and letting them take care of it. Like now, like where can you use, where else are you being called to utilize your energy, your presence, right? So it's not trying to micromanage everything, because that's also a control thing. That's also not in alignment, is that in that version of you who already knows it's here.
Yeah, I think there's so many different aspects to living in alignment, I guess. One thing that you brought up that resonated with me was authenticity, just like hiding what you do and now owning what you do, standing in your power and owning what you do. And I'm kind of in the same place too. Um, yeah, and hiding. So, because I guess that that is in alignment with hiding is in alignment with that fear as well. Um, and so I guess, what did I want to say? Oh my gosh. I want to say that in my journey for alignment, that brought up kind of the major themes, I guess, of my inner work was speaking my truth, right? And sharing what is coming through me without judgment, and judgment of kind of where I am, like kind of where we are is perfect, and recognizing that is part of living in the path of least resistance once we know that, like you said, we've sent our intention and our desire off, and then now it's our job to not resist that by being where we are, kind of. That makes sense.
And I also see like a question came through is like, oh, touch on the fact that you can also be in alignment where like, or the question is, am I still in alignment or do I ruin my results, right? Or my journey by being in that place of fear? I would say no, because also it's the lessons that you have to go through, like in the shadow aspect of the nights of the soul that you're constantly, they're deprogramming, deconditioning yourself. It's just, I find that when you're more in acceptance, the lessons come through, you allow the emotions, the healing to come so that you can move that off, you move the boulders off of you and then feel lighter and just realize like that in itself also is shaping you, right? Because like there's a lot of things that you are carrying that are clouding the judgment of what you're fully capable of, what you're here to do. Um, and what you can experience in your life, right?
Hmm. Yeah, because because alignment, like, I think a lot of people just always worry, am I in alignment to what I want, right?
Mhm.
But I think it just always comes down to, are you in alignment with your truth? And that takes care of everything. And I remember what you said about like love and light, kind of like
Mhm.
how it's not all love and light, but being in love and existing in the love frequency, I should say. Um, and being in alignment, like you said, doesn't mean you don't learn these lessons and might perceive setbacks and whatnot, but it's all how you handle it from this place of neutrality, I guess. Like, okay, this is, how can I know who I am and learn from this, from what is being reflected to me.
Mhm.
And it doesn't mean that you're out of alignment if you see these things, right? Like, if your desire, you've set your intention, your desire is out there, it is done. I think being in alignment just means how are you, how, what's the word, how much resistance are you going to, I guess, live in,
Mhm.
how you perceive where you are now and what's coming at you and the lessons that you're learning, right?
Mhm. And I think it's like too, I hear the word like perspective. Like, yeah, you were saying like, okay, what perspective are you holding? Like, um, you have the vision, you have the desire in your heart, and then it's, then you go and take the action. Now, once you take the action, like is your perspective like, oh, is it a negative one where it's like, oh, the effort I did automatically after 1 hour after posting no one's responded to you and the clients have you dropped in? Like, oh no, it was all for nothing, are you holding that vibration? Like, what are your thoughts around that? Or are you actually like, again, it's the trust, is the perspective, like, I already know everything's for me, everything I tracked, like, are you affirming that? And or again, like you're saying, are you putting up your own resistant walls because of your programs that keep coming up?
Mm-hmm.
And I find that like no, like, yeah, we were saying, like, in the spiritual community, we get a lot of heart because, oh, you can't sit in the light all the time and talk about all lovey-dovey, but we're saying it's like the feeling. If you can't even discern what feels good, like, how does it feel when you know you're fully supported, or like you have received something unexpected happen to you, right? The divine alignment and timing and opportunity of something coming forward for you, that vibration of energy, like you're in that state of hope and trust, versus like in that fear state, in the shadow of the like victimhood and all those other types of like wounds that pop up for you.
Mm.
That tends to like cut off the flow a bit, at least for you, in terms of really holding that space in the aligned, I would say, path. Like when we talk about quantum, right? What is that path where you see yourself in that life that you're embodying now, right? Or you keep going back to the old because of the resistance that you're allowing yourself to play into, or at least not catching it. And then putting a firm, something I learned this year was like, you're the one who dictates what you believe and what you want to believe. If you allow the mind to just go like, oh, um, having a business is hard, I have to work hard, then that's what you're allowing. But if you already frame your reality and what you desire by being firm in your beliefs and what you put in, it's like, no, it gets to be easy. Like I get to have fun with it. Like that's the, direction that you're calling forth, right? What do you want more of?
Definitely. And I guess that, yeah, I love that because that was in the early on in my business. Like I set those intentions of, how I wanted my business and my life to feel, I guess, right? Like easy, flowy, free time freedom, financial freedom, freedom to express myself and help people in the way that I wanted to help people, freedom to just, if I want to travel with my family, take my family wherever I want to go and all the things. And so along my journey, I had to learn that if things weren't working out the way that I wanted to in the timeline that I wanted to, that doesn't mean that like it's not working, and that doesn't mean that the way that I feel, the way that I desire to feel, and I know that my life gets to feel, it doesn't mean that it doesn't get to be that way. And I don't have to then shift, like you said, into the old belief or world, I guess, that I was projecting, that I have to hustle and that I have to, like other moms worked at night and worked overtime and worked weekends and did all the things and retired to make their business work, right? And so I kind of fell into that a lot, and um, I had to just constantly come back to my truth and to who I am and create my life from that energy and from that vibration. And so that caused a lot of surrender.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I guess on this past, so for those listening, I was like, these past few months, I kind of took a step back from my business and social media. And I was at home with my daughter, who was like, I don't know how old she was when I took a break, but she was a baby. And yeah, bringing up that point about love and light. So what was I going to say? I was going to make a point about love and light and alignment. I could have easily perceived my life, if you're thinking, you hear the term, it's not all love and light. I could have easily perceived that if you're believing in love and you think that it's not just ignoring what's in front of you, right? It's not ignoring these lessons and hardships that are in front of you, that are your life right now. It's existing from the vibrational frequency of love, which is our natural frequency of our soul, of who we are as an aspect of source, so it's existing from that space and kind of rising above the lower vibrations and how you used to perceive these situations in your life. So I could have perceived my financial hardships from the space of fear, or I could have ignored it and been like, no, it's love, it's love, it's love, it's all working out. But instead, I worked through it from the space of anchoring into my truth. And so that is what I think is living in ultimate alignment as you move through your lessons and you anchor in your dream life and your desires. Yeah. Just so inspired to share that.
Yeah. And I love that because I literally see it's like the images of like you standing firm, your feet in the ground, anchored to the earth. This is like what I believe in. So we have a desire, and vibrationally speaking, you're moving towards that embodiment here in this physical realm. Energetically, what's going to pop up is going to be all the wounds that are going to make you want to feel like it's a mirror in front of you. And they say a lot, it's like when the mirror is dirty, you are going to see like all these storylines of, maybe for you is like what a mother has to, who is building her business, who's holding herself in her business, has to work overtime, has to, let's see, be tired, exhausted, feel like, there's no order in her life. Like these are all stories and projections of other people that like we pick up, but now it's like I have to take myself through firmly, what is that reminder of my truth? What is your truth? And especially with like that Virgo, it's like if you don't know what you stand for, you're going to fall for everything. You're going to fall for that first, like, oh, maybe it has to be, but I'm resisting it. So, like, am I wrong because I'm not following everyone else's path and what it looks like and what they've been telling me it should be or is like. And so for you to come back, it's like always coming back to what you believe in. So that's what really the test is of when you're out of alignment and that feeling that like in that love state and confidence too. It's like it's helping you to really see like, is this what you believe in? That what you've been told from the outside sources? Or what is your truth that you want to live your life through? And like when you can just sit with it and it'll come up and then you can question it. And then it will blow off because it's like, oh no, it makes it easier, right? Versus you running away. Um, or I feel like it's always like, okay, I'm in it now, motivated, but then I fall back off. But it's like, no, I'm going to walk through it and like really see my um I feel the external shifts in your life when you really just allow yourself to take yourself through what you believe in. When you walk through that test from that place. Because you ultimately, those tests and challenges come up because the universe is saying, okay, what is it that you actually believe in? What are you serious about? Is it this future, what you're holding, or is it the old? And that's what, like, I feel that we navigate through a lot when it's between those choices or those tests that come up for all of us, right?
Mhm. Yeah. And I get it can be scary, I guess, because sometimes there's no evidence. Like, there's no, sometimes we don't have evidence in our maybe like tangible physical life of what we believe in yet, like what we know is our truth, kind of. Like, because we're still seeing the old play out, right? So it makes it so much harder to have faith, I guess you could say. But I think the one easiest way to know if you are in alignment would just be like like you said, like question, and then just I always talk about like feeling in your body. Like, how do you feel? Does it feel exciting and warm? Do you feel contracted?
Mhm.
And I guess that would be just the easiest way to know. Like, I had to do that a lot with finances. Um, so yeah, that was fun, but with, without knowing how things were gonna play out for me while I was taking a break. But I would always just, so for like an example, I wouldn't know how to pay rent, right? And so I'd just be like, the things would play out in my mind, like, okay, how's this gonna work? Like, you're gonna be late, like, blah blah blah. Do I need to do this? Do I need to get a job? Do I need to message the rent people? Do I need to message someone else? Like, these are all um, like scenarios that would be out of alignment for me because it's coming out of fear, right? But instead, what was aligned for me was tuning when I tuned in, and I was like, okay, what is actually true? What is actually true is that I am safe, that I am divinely supported, that I'm abundance and love are kind of the same frequencies of what we are naturally, right? And so I really focused on that I am abundance. And that was like my anchor. And that felt good, right? That felt good. That didn't feel scary. What felt scary was when I focused on the unknown and the physical reality, right? So, what the records have actually helped me a lot in was saying, remember who you are, trust in your frequency, trust in your frequency. That is alignment. Because if you're in this process of change and calling your desires in and your reality in, that's not gonna like be much to go off of. Like, you can't tell if you're in alignment based off that. You have to tell if you're in alignment based off how you feel
Mhm.
and what feels good to you and being connected to your truth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's
Until the things start coming in and then you're like, yes, yes, yes.
and yeah, and it's like because the physical reality really is just it's already in the past. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
already here. The vibrationally, everything was faster in the unseen realms, the energetic, the spiritual realms. That's why it's from your energy is really just the vibration of in the form of thoughts, emotion, and then they anchor in the solid form here in the physical. So that's why it's like it feels scary in sitting still because of the things that your mind is telling you. This is what I'm seeing in front of my world right now. And like, what do I need to do to take control? And but then your actions are from that space, like you were saying. So it's like the moment you can sit, tune in to like how you feel, be honest with that. And then I always say, like, how can we release this energy that's coming up for you? Because oftentimes some people it's hard for them to like really ground and like connect to their heart because it's like I'm outside of my body at this point. My mind's out there versus being focused and in my power right now in my light. And then when you can come back, it's like, okay, now I can work through that energy that's coming up. And then coming back to what I want to be, like what I want, what is my truth, who I am. And then I always have to feel like, what have I taken myself through in the past before that obviously can light a fire under my ass to not fall into that state of like overwhelmed because like I've seen how the universe and God has led me up to this point. I've seen how it's happened. I've seen how it's happened for somebody else. So why wouldn't it for me again? Right? Because at this time, at this point, you've gone through many lessons and this applies for like everybody. Think about all those times so that you can just come back firm to the present moment.
Mhm.
Tuning in to see anything. I knew there was something else too. Hmm. And really, it's like you always have to remember, like, your physical body is like a radio tower. Your emotions are just signals to the vibrational field of the universe that you're consciously creating together. And if your messages are clouded or and they're heavy and the weight is, cutting the signal short, they're not going to reach as far to what you actually are looking to manifest in your life, right? Through action and aligned action, inspired action. But when they are in that space where it feels light and you are in that space of trust and hope, it vibrates out there. So I always feel like you get the download, you take the action, and then the rest is the attraction part. Like you start seeing it and being open to all the different ways it's going to come through. Because you could have thought it was going to be through this one medium, but maybe, at least what I've been finding for me, I'm interested in business, but also been learning about like multiple streams of income and
Mhm.
being open to it and
Mhm.
seeing myself as like, oh, like I have contracts with other like aspects that I do. And just because like I have sources of income there, it doesn't mean I'm going to deny it. Like when you look out in the world, there's like investments, there's bonds, stocks, like you can have your income streams in different ways. So like when I see the spiritual community and you're a coach or mentor, you have multiple tiers, right? Of how your clients come through, whether it's one-on-one for me, energy work, um, like membership work for people to just come through in or courses or one-on-one. Like it's just the same thing, just set up differently.
Mhm.
And so just being open, like even now this week, somebody asked me to rent a space. I was like, hey, it's extra income. Well, let's strike a deal here. So thank you, universe. It was just like unexpected, but it was fun. And then I'm like, gratitude and then being open because you just don't know where it's going to come because the universe is so expansive. Like, let it be fun, right?
Mhm.
Where you're being led
Mhm.
because you don't want to shut down, be in a state of fear. The conversation somebody could have come through, but like you're closed off and like you don't want to open to a conversation and share. And sometimes I'll have very synchronistic like conversations with people out in the world I don't even know, and they gave me something I needed. Maybe the inspiration hit because as a generator, it's like my reality. I play with the universe and people and environment. So I'm like, oh, the download completes of what I need to take the action or that momentum. Yeah.
Mhm. 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 I love how you said just like have fun, right? Because that's such a light energy, I guess, which again will help us on our ultimate path and yeah, release that control. Hmm. So I think like you're saying, there's so many options of like how you can have those finances come through, right? So I again with all the options, then it's like yeah, you don't have to control it, but just be in tune with, okay, does this sound fun for me? Does this feel fun for me? Does this feel good? Right? And just kind of navigating that way, being open to your
Mhm.
desired feeling. It's the feeling of what does the feeling of multiple finances coming through feel like? And then allowing the universe to show you how that can happen.
Mhm.
It doesn't
And
have to be.
I feel like too, and it's like remembering, like, how would you come off of, like, if you walk through a door confidently. Like that same vibration, it's like holding your truth. And because no one's going to question you if you really know what you're talking, like, you feel like you know what you're talking about. Like, no one can change your truth, right? No one can change your mind because you're set in it. It's like, I'm already firm in this. You can say what you want. You're not going to budge me. And so when the things come and push and shove you, like, it's not going to affect you as much because you have stepped into that level of confidence. And I think ultimately, like through all the layers and levels you go through, it's that you ultimately come back to that part. It's like, just how much more in refinement can I be in what I believe in? And something that I kind of thought of, like, that came through for me was a story that a teacher was saying. And they were saying, like, knowing who you are, like, if you're already like creating that life that you want from that space that you've been, envisioning for a while, it's like the story of like a woman who was asking, like, oh, have you seen my necklace? And she was looking for a necklace. Um, and we're always looking to find, so to speak, what it is that we're moving into, or like embodying our higher self. But then it turns out she was wearing the necklace. So it's already within you. Like when you can come back and see it's already here, I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to force things. I just have to come back and be rooted in that. Because what? I don't need to look outside of myself to validate my truth. Like I know it here. The universes will reflect it back to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah, like you said, it just comes with refinement, you know, because I used to think I was in alignment, but I was half in belief and excitement, and then half in worry, and then like half in looking outside, of myself for that validation. And yeah, just just it just becomes easier to just keep coming back. And I guess it's really that discipline
Mm-hmm.
and the questioning, and yeah, questioning, can keep questioning yourself and what you believe.
Mm-hmm. And what tools would you say you use to come back to your own alignment or to your own truth?
Ooh. Well, right now I'd say the Akashic Records. um at this point, I kind of at this point, I in my journey, I'm kind of to a point where I don't really fall back into the old programming, but like I see it, and um I kind of just have an anchor of no, I know who I am, and that kind of brings me back into balance. But I would say tools. So sorry. So the Akashic Records and meditating in the Akashic Records. And what I do now is I pretty much just ask my guides, and I try to communicate with my higher self as much as possible. And so like over time that kind of just builds a stronger relationship um with you, with your vibration. And I ask my guides, please remove resistance, please um clear my energy, please help me raise my vibration, and things like that. That's what I do now. And I used to do practice Reiki a lot. I think that was one of the main things that helped, that like brought up all of the lessons, and like inner work that I had to go through to get here. Um, yeah. kind of just, yeah, Reiki, Kundalini Reiki. I would just like do it every day. And I still sometimes return to that. It depends on like the phase of my life. So like every so often, like I'll go through a cycle of going through Reiki again, and then I'll kind of leave it alone.
Hmm. And I
Mhm.
like that because then it gives like all the things that we do. I find it's like, how can you come back into the state of presence? Like allowing yourself to sit with it so that, and especially right now, I've been doing like a mini series on like how to all the different ways that your intuition, your higher self speaks to you. And that's like through all your senses, right? And we get it so differently. Like and it could be through access. There's many different practices, modalities that get you there to open up those clairs more because then, like for me, the first step, and I know I've been guided to go back to journaling because I would just channel and I can feel the writing was not my tone of what my voice would be. It would be something, my guides coming through because the energy of the words were loving and
Mhm.
nurturing. And even now for me, it's like I have to physically move myself and I create like a ceremony space because like the act of doing it helps my mind to anchor in like, oh, okay, I'm stepping into outside of the world, but more into my reality that feels safe for me energetically. And even there, like, okay, deep meditations. That's something I've always found like I try not to stray from because it helps me, especially with sound healing. At least all of it because you drop in. It feels like you're dropping in to something and then you're opening up your channels to receiving the guidance that you need for the next step. And oftentimes it's just that next step. It doesn't have to be I find the A to Z thing, like, and just realize you're constantly evolving, you're refining yourself. So let go of that like heavy weight, you're going to get there. You're already there. Have fun. Because you're
Mhm.
transforming and evolving.
Mhm. I love how you mentioned journaling. Yeah, because it took me back to when I first started to try to communicate with my soul, and it was journaling, and I would just ask my soul, what message is for me today, right? So, and I think for me, I was never a journaler too. I'm just much more of a like, I don't know, like, I'm simple, and sometimes I just don't want to sit and journal forever. But I journal a lot now, the Akashic Records. But anyways, my point was, yes, journaling helped me a lot in the beginning of my journey when I was kind of learning to trust my intuition and kind of be more soul led. And then something else, if you're not like a journaler, is what I love to do is I just like to ask my higher self, like, is it for my highest good to do this or that? And then if it's like a no, for me, it's in my throat. I'll feel like a ball in my throat, and that's a no. And if it's a yes, it's like feels like my energy is expanding and it feels good. And um, you can kind of communicate that way too. And
Mm-hmm.
then, but I think it's important, whatever your method in like connecting to your intuition, your higher self, or whatever, is to follow that because then you learn to trust it, and then like more comes through, right? Same thing with like your alignment and your desires and what feels good for you. Like the more you trust that, the more you follow it, the more you will have trust and refine your relationship with yourself and with being in alignment. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I like that you mentioned that because, yeah, I find that a lot of times maybe you're scared to follow that intuition or sit in trust of what you've already done because maybe in the past, and I've read something where it was like you betrayed yourself. You did not complete what you said you'd go out to do. And because you didn't take the action, no results came through that. And so that kind of ties into the like the universal law of like cause and effect. If I whether I do or do not, something is going to result anyways. I might as well go and try for it, right? Because they say, what is it, 99% of the shots that you don't take are missed or something, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, like go and try it, just like follow it because the more you do, the more, like you mentioned, you follow, you see what results, where the path leads you, what happens, and then you trust yourself more when you see it actually does confirm that self-trust. And I always kind of think about like it's essentially love is action, like you've taken the action and trusting yourself.
Oh, I love that. Mm.
And um, how can people work with you? Like, is there anything that you have going on?
Yes, I have Akashic Records readings right now. So those range from like a mini reading to like a full in-depth reading or a package of 4 readings. So you'll get 1 reading a week in a month. And then you can work with me one-on-one mentorship, which is like a hybrid of Akashic Records. And then you get the one-on-one support with me, like throughout the weeks to help you kind of integrate what's coming up for you and the guidance you're receiving and any like shifts that are happening for you. So I guess my work is really for you if you're really desiring to know like more about yourself from on a soul level. You're really desiring to kind of master your energy and your energetics when it comes to creating your dream life, and you just want to live more in alignment with your purpose and feel fulfilled. Feel
Hmm.
fulfilled, feel that abundance and the ease and the flow that you know is available to you, but you're kind of just still you're still seeing the same old scenarios kind of play out for you, and you really want to shift out of that timeline. So yeah.
Hmm. And where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. My handle is iamkaylabhegani. um, it's hard to spell my last name, so I feel like, are you gonna list it in the
Yeah.
details? Or TikTok. I'm on TikTok as well at akashic.mama. But I guess that will all be linked. Those are my 2 main platforms. And the way to get a hold of me is to just direct message me.
Mhm.
Direct message me to ask any questions or to book. Yeah.
Perfect. And I wanted to say thank you for doing this with us today and um, just elaborating it because it sometimes it can feel like, oh, how can I tell if I'm in alignment? What is alignment? And I feel like this was a really good conversation. We just allowed like all the wisdom to come through that was needed for now. Um, and I can't wait to have you back.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. Honestly, I feel like, yeah, there's just like so much to be said about alignment. You can go into like so many different tiny conversations branching off of alignment.
Yes.
So, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And so, thank you so much for joining us today in this beautiful podcast. I know the messages, everything, the guidance, the tips are going to resonate with you. Remember to put them into action. That is the energy and the theme that seems to be coming up, especially as we are about to approach Aries season in March. And that also just, that's a missing piece for a lot of people. And when you're on your awakening journey, spiritual walk, it's like taking action, not just being all up in the head in the energy world, right? And so my offering for you, currently we still have Etherical. Etherical is the 12-week program where you will be connecting to your intuition, knowing all the ways that your higher self will speak to you through all your psychic clairs and senses, as well as giving you the opportunity to really learn how to draw awareness to your energy and knowing it for yourself. Like, what does it feel like to be within your own energy? What is confidence? What is your truth? Clearing up old programs and beliefs that have been holding you back from embodying your highest timeline in life. And if you're wanting to really go deeper beyond that 12 weeks, I have my one-on-one mentorship, which is Empress Rising. This is for you if you want long-term, real lasting transformational change. Oftentimes, we know a lot of my work is and has been in the like cognitive science, health, field. And for change to happen, for real lasting habit to really take form in your own body and your mind and your body to be in alignment to your soul, right? Your soul's truth, it takes more than 21 days to anchor that in for your mind to be believe in a reality. And so when you go into a long-term mentorship, what happens is you build a beautiful relationship with me, mentor, and I teach you all the things in terms of not just giving you access to all the programs that you will have during your time together. There's 3 levels of support that you can fall into so that we can help you. We can work together. And also, you have me as an intuitive guide. What that means is oftentimes I will get to know you personally. We're not just talking about the things that you'll be growing through and initiating yourself through in the next 6 months together, and also long term. Um, I get to also see you get to share with me all the ways that will be coming up for you because you are in this life journey that includes all the other aspects of your life, your role as a spouse, a partner, a mother, father, maybe you're a student, right? Or you work in some other aspect in career, right? And things will pop up. And with my assistance connecting to my higher self and guidance, I'll be able to always clarify, help keep you on track and momentum to creating your intentional, purposeful life by seeing the energy, giving you the tips and tricks that I wish I had when I was going through my own personal walk at first in terms of discovering my soul's gifts and purpose here. All that information is down in the links below, and you can feel free to find me over at divine.cosmic.empress on IG and many different platforms as well. Feel free to check out the website, divinecosmicjourney.com. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of the week. Platinum.